Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the ordinary meeting of Council Wednesday, the 26th of August 2026, to be held here in the Council chambers commencing at 5:30. Kaya Nala Karak Nunga Mot Kan Karak Ninja Buja. We acknowledge the Noongar people as the traditional custodians of the land. Item 2, announcements by the President. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge Councillor Dean Phillips and welcome to your first official ordinary meeting of Council meeting, Councillor, and we wish you all the very best going forward. I would also like to acknowledge the Pemberton Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Pemberton Visitor Centre, who I've spent the last 2 nights with networking and hearing the issues and wins of Pemberton. I would also like to acknowledge the opening of the Avocado Collective shed out on Ralston Road. I was fortunate to attend the opening with Councillor Mylan. It is an incredibly impressive facility, and full congratulations to all involved, and thank you for your investment into our community. Attendance 3.1. Can I
just address one?
Certainly.
I've just got to acknowledge Councillor Phillips.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. So just a little bit of administration. In accordance with Schedule 4.1A, Clause 2, Bracket 4 of the Local Government Act 1995, I declare Dean Phillips elected to the office of Councillor for the Rural Ward of the Shire of Manjimup to fill the extraordinary vacancy in the office formerly held by Suzanne Peat, which arose on the 16th of June 2026 for a term expiring on 16 October 2027. Councillor Phillips made the declaration of office required by Section 2.29 of the Local Government Act 1995 on the 19th of August, a week ago today, before myself as an authorised person. If that seems a little bit out of place for me to stand up and talk under the President's announcements, it's a little quirk of the Local Government Act that I need to read that aloud, despite the fact that Councillor Phillips has signed all the documentation and is sitting in front of us, but I can now check that box.
It's all about checking boxes sometimes. Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. 3.1, apologies, we have nil. 3.2, approve leave of absence. We have Councillor Batink and Councillor Darren, and we welcome Councillor Darren, who we know is on to line. Item 4, declarations of interest.
Madam President, I have not received any as yet.
Thank you. Item 5, public question time. 5.1, response to public questions taken on notice. We have nil. 5.2, public question time. Under meeting procedure determined by the Shire of Manjimup Standing Orders Local Law 2013, this is the only opportunity for members of the public to ask up to a maximum of 2 questions of council. There is no further opportunity to question the Shire of Manjimup during this meeting. Questions can be asked on any Shire matter, not just the issues included in the meeting agenda, and each person shall have up to 3 minutes to ask their questions, which may be extended by an additional 3 minutes when where considered appropriate by the presiding member. Persons asking questions are entitled to a response unless the question is declared out of order. If a matter requires further investigation, that response may be in writing. Any person asking questions of council must state their correct name and locality, as this will form part of the public record of the meeting. Also, please note this meeting is being live streamed on the Shire's YouTube channel. Following this meeting, a recording will remain available on the channel and will also be uploaded onto the Shire's website. Questions? Any questions? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Trelisa Weatherald. I'm a leaseholder for lot 64 Windy Harbour Drive, Windy Harbour. I have had my lease for 26 years, and in that time I have served my community with Marine Rescue Windy Harbour as secretary for 13 years. I have a question, a statement. As at the 19th of July, I have been in dispute with my neighbour, number 63 Windy Harbour Drive, over a large retaining wall. He has said that I must build this wall. As at the 17th of July, I have received a letter from Jason Giadresco informing me that the Shire has plans for this wall and that my neighbour can build it at his will when he likes. I'd like to say I have not seen these plans and I do not believe they exist. As in the initial planning stage, we have been given plans for the end part of this wall, not for the front. So, and I believe this man is a licensed builder. If he is a licensed builder, he must understand all the rules. So if he is not abiding by the rules, does that leave us open to a substandard build? And I'd just like clarification at some stage from the Shire, and I'd like to see this stamped engineered plan for this wall, as it is quite large and can come at some considerable cost. So I just have concerns, and I have written letters and really get not a lot of answers from the Shire. And, so I want clarification, and I would like to see a good plan here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
CEO.
you, Madam President. Thank you very much for your question and outlining your concerns. Mr. Giadresco is here with us tonight, but I might ask Mr. Giadresco and his office to reach out to you over the next few days to follow up on those queries and concerns. Thank you for bringing them to our attention.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Nope. Fabulous. Thank you. Okay, item 6, presentations. 6.1, petitions.
Thank you, Madam President. It's not very often that we do receive petitions here at the Shire of Manjimup, but I have received one today, and I will provide some of the details now for the council members and those in the gallery, and then outline the process for dealing with the petition. The petition is for the attention of the Shire President, Shire of Manjimup, PO Box 1, Manjimup, WA 6258. And the request is as follows. We, the undersigned, request that Council recommends to the Regional Development Assessment Panel that they refuse the fast food land use component of planning application reference TP 2026.99 at 71 Mottram Street. Colloquially, that development application is the McDonald's development application at Mottram Street. And the second part of the request is that we, the undersigned, request that Council does all in its power to discourage McDonald's from coming to our town. So the petition is made up of 2 requests, and the rationale for the request is the establishment of McDonald's in our town will have a negative impact on the following: the health of our children, families and wider community, the environment through litter and noise pollution and increased traffic, and thirdly, local businesses who will not be able to compete with McDonald's advertising campaigns which are aggressive, persuasive and which have huge resources. The petition is made up of 3 pages with approximately, I think, 19 signatures, and on a preliminary review, we've found 17 of the 19 signatures are electors of the district. So under the Shire's standing orders, it's up to the council now to consider receiving this petition. If the council does receive the petition, It will be the subject of a report that I will prepare or have prepared for the next council meeting, which will be considering the requests made. Or the alternate option is up to the Shire President to not receive or to dismiss the petition. And I have in our back pocket a couple of different motions which reflect either of those courses of action. Madam President, would you like to maybe make a comment on this?
I am going to go straight in and move a motion that council, in accordance with clause 6.10 in brackets 2 in brackets A of the Shire of Manjimup Standing Orders Local Law 2013, 1, receive the petition presented to this meeting, and 2, direct the Chief Executive Officer to prepare a report on the matter for consideration at the earliest practical ordinary meeting. Is there a seconder? Councillor Tempera. This motion, it fundamentally does just that. It receives the petition and then instructs the CEO to prepare that report that will outline whether the concerns raised within the report are something that council can consider within the approval process, and what that approval process will be. Councillor Tempera, would you like to speak to the motion?
Just to reinforce and support everything that Madam President has said, and I love democracy in action when people put petitions in and voices are heard.
Thank you. Are there any speakers against the petition?
Yes, thank
Councillor
you.
De Campo.
Thanks, Madam President. I speak against the motion. Mr CEO, how many electors or how many residents do we have in the Shire currently under the previous census, not the last one?
Electors, I might need to seek some direction from someone.
Well, let's go with total, because there's 19 plus, there's 17 electors plus 2 unelected. So let's go with the total. What's the population of the Shire of Manjimup?
Oh,
Just under 10,000.
whisker over 10,000, I think.
I went with 8.
Yeah.
Let's go with 8.
Okay.
That's 0.2% of our population in a petition of 19, and we're going to get staff to go and write. And in fact, when you look at the hyperbole that was on Facebook previous to this meeting, you would have thought we would have had a gallery full of people here in objecting to McDonald's and another item that will be coming up later in the agenda. But we don't. So why are we trying to appease 19 people by getting our CEO to go and write an agenda item, bring something to us that we will be able to do nothing about because it's in front of JDAP, as we know? All we're doing is placating 19 people by trying to make them satisfied they've had their say. I think if there was 90, if there was 29, if there was 900, no problem. But for 19 people, and of those 17 are electors, we're going to make our staff go and write up a report to bring to us that we're going to reject anyway. So I think I would urge you to vote against the motion to bring back a report to council in relation to the petition.
Thank you. Are there any speakers for the motion? Are there any other speakers?
Thanks, Madam President. Yes, I would like to speak to the motion, and I do take a lot of the points that Councillor De Campo has just raised. However, it is, I think, instructive for our residents to understand how planning works. And planning is quite complex. It's something that I've taken some time and learnt about. And I think there are a number of people in our Shire who think that council can make decisions on a whim, on what they like, what they don't like, whereas we have to make decisions based on firm planning grounds. So I think by conducting a report, producing a report that's then presented to council, I can't preclude exactly what's going to be in it, but I think that what it will do would outline more precisely the boundaries of what council can and can't decide about development applications, and it will define the process more clearly. I understand there's only a few signatures there, but it's the first one that I've seen here, so I see no harm in creating that extra work, as Councillor De Campo says, and us looking at the report, and then it will be a public explanation of how planning is conducted and the say that council can actually have in some of these matters.
Thank you, councillor. Are there any other speakers? In closing, I would just like to say that one of the items coming forward is about opening up council for transparency. I think this is a vital part of us being transparent in the processes that we consider at council. Although I do recognise that this is a report on the basis of 17 people, I think it's that clarity to the rest of the electors and the rest of our community that is a vital part of this. So with that, I would commend for you to support this motion. I would like to put that to the vote, please, councillors. All those in favour? And against? Is carried 5-2. Thank you. 6.2, presentations, there are nil. 6.3, deputations, there are nil. 6.4, delegate reports, there are nil. 6.5, conference reports, there are nil. Item 7 is confirmation of the minutes. Councillor De Campo.
I'll move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of council held on the 29th of July 2026 be confirmed as a true and accurate record.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Burns. Can we put that to the vote, please, councillors? All those in favour? Is carried 7-0. Thank you. Item 8, motions of which previous notice has been given. 8.1, notice of motion, Councillor De Campo, amendment to Council Policy 1.1.1, council meetings, agenda briefing sessions and concept forums. Councillor De Campo.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move as per officer's recommendation, but just before I do, I'd like to pay tribute to a former staff member of ours that has passed away recently. Margaret Jacob was our Jacob or Jacobs?
Jacobs.
Jacobs was our library manager for many years, 25 years, loyal and dedicated to the library system, and came into this chamber many times asking and debating about getting more money for the libraries. So I'd just like to offer my condolences and by extension the council's condolences to the Jacobs family. I'm sure they're going through a tough time at the moment. And with that, as per officer's recommendation, you don't want me to read this, do you? Because it's quite long.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Phillips. Councillor De Campo.
Thank you, Madam President. Talking of the past, we don't want to be saturated by the past. However, for a long time in here, and I think there's 100th newspapers in the back, isn't it? So what's the date on the newspaper?
2008 was the
2008. We turned 100 years old here. Quite good-looking people in that paper, I've got to say. If anyone wants to have a look, we might leave it for the public to have a look at. So what's that? Another 16, 18 years on top of that. We had an open gallery. We had an open meeting for our pre-meeting, and we did make some changes recently. That's true. Because we don't do all this on one day now. We used to do all of our pre-meeting and all of our what we call concept forums now on the same day as council. And during those years, we generally got the same people in for the pre-meeting. And I'm not sure Colin Crombie watches on our... I wish we did have a list of names that did watch, but Councillor Darren is watching, so hello in the background. But Colin Crombie was a regular in our pre-meetings, and there were a number of others that were regulars. It's nothing to be frightened of. And when we talk about petitions and that, great segue, by the way, but we talk about being open and accountable. And what I do see, because I do follow local government news right across the country, interestingly enough, because in the East Coast it's getting very political. Actually, somebody got knocked out for 2 months just recently for putting an emoji in a Facebook message, and somebody got offended by the emoji. God help me. But anyway, the reality is that open and accountable government doesn't just happen here, it happens at the pre-meeting, and people should be able to come and have a look, see how we make the decisions, not when we make the decisions. And that's really the key to this. It is how the machinations work in the background rather than the actual final determination of when we make the decision. Because it's all very easy. Tonight we have one absolute. We may actually just go through tonight, although one is going to be pulled out. An absolute, for those who don't know, in the camera, of how many is there tonight, Shamara?
3.
3. God, we're bagging the numbers of YouTube. An absolute means you need an absolute majority. It's generally budget decision or something like that. We may not actually pull any of those other agenda items out if there isn't anyone that has any dissent, because we've already talked about it in our pre-meeting. People have the right to be able to see how that decision was come to, not very good England there, but anyway, how the decision we made was determined. And so I think opening up our pre-meeting for people to come in, sit in, they can't participate. Yes, maybe we can't say things that we've been accustomed to saying in the last 12 months, but you know what? I was president here for 12 and a half years and was on council 16 and a half years. I don't think I've changed, so I don't think there's going to be a problem with what we say. It's more about opening this up, and again, across Australia, when you see councils that close it down, and other councils actually have a meeting specifically to talk about what's in the agenda with the public. Now, we don't do that, but it is the opportunity for somebody. Let's take McDonald's as a good example. I think McDonald's, and I'll put it on the record, is a great opportunity for Manjimup to mature as a town. You don't like burgers, don't eat them. It's real simple. Don't eat them if you don't like burgers. If you don't like their chips, go to Chicken Tree. But the reality is it's a great chance for our
Point of order.
town.
Point of order.
No, I'm going to the
Madam
argument
President.
of the open and accountable
Can I
government.
just ask for a point of order,
Sure.
that we stick to the discussion about the motion that's on the book here?
So with the McDonald's decision,
No.
if people had the opportunity to sit in on the pre-meeting, they would see the preamble as to how that decision was made. So your point of order is reasonably relevant, but it's about the decision-making process of McDonald's. I could have chosen anything else, but the reality is McDonald's is fairly topical right now. I commend the motion to you, and I urge you to support the motion so that we can reopen our pre-meeting. My guess is we'll get maybe half a dozen people a year. We might get a flood, as tonight, as you can see. The interest in Gatsby's and McDonald's is palpable in here, so I urge you to support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Phillips, would you like to speak to the motion? Good. Are there any speakers against the motion? Are there any other speakers? Councillor Mylan.
I'd like to speak for the motion. I think that what happens in our preamble meetings, as Councillor De Campo referred to, is that we as council are able to ask questions. And I think that's important for the public to know. We don't debate we haven't made the decision beforehand. The decision is made by listening to the debate that happens around this chamber tonight. But we form our understanding of the principles and the concepts or the issues around each of the items that come onto the agenda, and we do that by asking questions of the officers to clarify certain information, and in that way we're able to make a well-informed decision. And I think that going back to allowing the public to be there for that process is really important, because if you've got an item that affects you, that impacts you coming up for discussion, I think it's really valuable for the residents to be able to come here and listen to the questions that are asked and understand the issues for themselves. So I do commend it to you. I do want to also say that the changes that have been made to having the concept forum the week before are terrific. I think that gives us all a chance to ask questions, clarify the issues, and then go away and do some more reading and background stuff. So the motion calls for us to continue with the pre-meeting, the questions on the agenda in the week before. I understand that there's some issues with the staff saying that it creates extra work. However, I think in the motion it's quite feasible that we publish a draft agenda on the Friday before as we get it. The public can see that draft agenda. It's clearly labelled in the way that the motion's been framed here, that they can see the draft agenda, and if there are some changes that have to happen, then that can happen on the following Friday. So I commend the motion to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other speakers? I was one of those people that sat in the gallery before they decided to run for council. It was an all-day thing, but I think the opening up the concept forums, I was torn between this. I like the questions and the discussions that we have part of those concept forums, but I understand that it's an essential part of our position is the transparency of what goes on within this chamber and how the decisions we make we come to those decisions. That is an essential part of this. I had a coffee with a lady earlier this week. And it is essential that community understands that the people that sit around this table, we are community. We are the ones that are representing the people within our community. And by opening up the chamber as part of those discussions and as part of those forums, it gives community that sense that we are still working for them and that we are representatives of our community. It's that transparency and the ability to make us all approachable as well. That's an essential part of what our position is as councillors. So I would commend this motion to you. Councillor De Campo, would you like to close? Excellent. Councillors, can we please all put this to the vote? All those in favour? Is carried 7-0. Thank you. Okay. Item 9, officers' reports. For the interest of the gallery, I will explain how we are about to consider the agenda items for this meeting. All councillors have had the agenda for 1 week, giving us time to thoroughly review each item. This meeting is the only time that councillors are able to formally debate agenda items. Soon I will read out each item listed in the agenda, and any councillor will be able to identify an agenda item they wish to debate. These items will be listed on the board. All items not identified by councillors to be debated will be moved in accordance with the officer's recommendation in one motion as listed in the agenda and moved en bloc for voting purposes. If your item is not listed on the board and is moved en bloc, it will be passed as per the officer's recommendation. Following this, council will consider the remaining items in agenda order. Okay, Officer the CEO, 9.1.1, 5D Brockman Street, Manjimup in brackets Gatsby Skyline, leasee request for lease extension is taken out. 9.1.2, Lot H24 Mottram Street, Manjimup, request for access arrangement for McDonald's restaurant is subject of a petition and taken out. Finance and Administration, 9.3.1, proposed review of Council Policy 1.1.2, councillor meeting fees and reimbursement of expenses, and the recession of Council Policy 4.1.5, travelling and accommodation allowances is absolute and taken out. 9.3.2, Shire financial payments for June 2026. 9.3.3, monthly statement of financial activity, June 2026. 9.3.4, exercised use of delegation for June 26 write-off of bad debts. Statutory planning, 9.5.1, proposed position on planning framework for plantations in brackets tree farms is taken out. 9.5.2, proposed advertising of draft environmental sustainability strategy 26 to 31. 9.5.3, proposed change of use of a dwelling to unhosted short-term rental accommodation at lot 93 in brackets 40 Walpole Street, Walpole. 9.5.4, Parkside Group requests for Shire of Manjimup advocacy, Pemberton Mill and Dean Mill lease sites. 9.5.5, consideration of submission and final approval of Amendment 35 at Lot 15 in brackets 269 Dingup Road, Dingup. 9.5.6, delegated planning decisions, July 26. Community and Recreation Services, 9.9.1, proposed recession of Council Policy 3.1.8 Community Bus. 9.9.2, request to consider the 2026 Southwest Sports Awards sponsorship. 9.9.3, invitation to host the West Australian Opera at the Manjimup Heritage Park. Great. 9.9.4, review of Council Policy 1.2.7, support for staff who make public interest disclosures. Technical Services, 9.12.1, Manjimup Airfield Terminal Building renaming proposal is taken out, please. Okie doke. 9.1.1, 5D Brockman Street, Manjimup, Gatsby Skyline, leasee request for lease extension. No. Oh, sorry. Can we move, someone move those agenda items, please? Councillor De Campo.
Hang on, now you've thrown me now as well.
Sorry.
I've got to find the whole thing now. You got it? You go.
Councillor Mylan.
Thank you. I move that council adopt the recommendations contained in the council officers and committee reports within section 9 of the agenda, with the exception of those on the board.
Thank you, Councillor Minor. Is there a second to Councillor De Campo? Can we put that to the vote, please, councillors? All those in favour? Is carried 7-0. Sorry about that. Thank you. 9.1.1, Brockman Street Manjimup.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move an amended motion. It is that Council 1 offer the current leasee of Gatsby's an extension of the current lease of the premises at 5D Brockman Street, Manjimup until the 30th of June 2027. 2, include in the lease a no penalty early termination provision, allowing the lessee to terminate the lease at any time by providing the Shire of Manjimup with a minimum of 14 days written notice. 3, confirm that no financial penalty, early termination fee or rent beyond the effective termination date will apply where the lessee complies with the 14-day written day notice requirement, subject to the lessee satisfying all other outstanding obligations under the lease. 4, place the current expression of interest process for the future leasing of 5D Brockman Street on hold while the lease referred to in Resolution 1 remains in effect. 5, require the expression of interest process to recommence as soon as practicable if the lessee activates the 14-day early termination provision, with any new lease to commence following the termination and lawful vacation of the premises by the current lessee. 6, authorise the Chief Executive Officer under delegated authority to undertake all negotiations and dealings with the current lessee, any proponent and any other interested party necessary to implement this resolution, including negotiating, finalising and executing the lease and any related documentation. 7, require the Chief Executive Officer and the current lessee to reach a mutual agreement on the ownership, condition, retention, removal and transfer of all fixtures and fittings located within the premises. 8, require a detailed fixtures and fittings schedule to be prepared and agreed with the current lessee, clearly identifying all items owned by the Shire, the lessee or any third party, and recording the agreed treatment of each item upon the termination, assignment or expiry of the lease. 9, require an appropriate bond in an amount to be determined by the Chief Executive Officer and the agreed fixtures and fittings schedules to form part of any assignment, transfer of the existing lease or any new lease that's issued to the premises, for the premises. 10, confirm that Council is not prepared to fund any further works to the kitchen space. And 11, note that all other provisions in the lease remain unchanged unless amendments are required to give effect to this resolution and are agreed between the Chief Executive Officer and the lessee.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there a seconder? Councillor Mylan. Councillor De Campo.
Thank you, Madam President. I think this is what this is an olive branch to the proponents of Gatsby's, actually. What it allows them to do, and it is in the report very clearly that they are applying for a grant, an artist's grant, to be able to attract an artist and attract a buyer. The premises, the business is now listed with Bar and Stanley, in fact, so it is for sale. And we'd really like this business to keep going. This is something that has brought a lot of economic activity to town, and it is something that we do cherish, as it is probably unique within the state of Western Australia, potentially in rural and regional Western Australia, not metropolitan Western Australia. But we want to give every opportunity for this business to be able to, 1, succeed in a grant, and I think a longer lease to June shows that they are serious about staying and selling the business. And 2, we want to be able to give them an early option to vacate. We want to give them a runway, an early termination runway that's penalty free. So buy your ticket to the airport, you get a free ride. And I think that this does that. And the third thing to me, which is really important, is I don't want to see it back in this chamber. I'd like to be able to delegate this. I'd like us to be able to delegate this to the CEO to be able to make any further negotiations, not just with this lessee, but with a future lessee as well, unless it comes back to us as an empty building to determine what we might do with it. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to give certainty to a new buyer, give certainty to the government that might in fact fund a grant application by Gatsby's, and also give the proprietors of Gatsby's the opportunity to terminate early and penalty free if they wish to, by a very easy text to the CEO. which we know that the proprietors are very good at doing. So I urge you to support the motion and commend the motion to you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Mylan. Are there any other speakers? I'd just like to acknowledge what Gatsby's has brought to the town, but also that the Shire has worked with the lessees in supporting this venue. I thank all the people that have sent emails, although there weren't many, in support of this. I would note, though, the amount of those emails that came in that said they had been there once. They've been open for 3 years. The best way that the community can support this venue is to go. It's no good writing us emails saying that they need an extended lease because we were hoping to go and we didn't get to go. They've been open for 3 years. If you've been there once or are hoping to go, the best way you can support this venue is to turn up. As a council and a shire, we are supporting them by extending the lease, as we did previously. So with that, I would commend the motion to you and ask you to support this and support the venue in going forward. Councillor De Campo, would you like to close? Councillors, can we put this to the vote, please? All those in favour? Is carried 7-0. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. 9.1.2, Lot 824, Mottram Street, Manjimup. Request for access arrangements for McDonald's restaurant. Councillor De Campo.
As per officer's recommendation.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Mylan. Councillor De Campo. Councillor Mylan, would you like to speak to the motion? With that, are there any other speakers? Can we put this to motion to the vote, please, councillors? All those in favour? Is carried 7-0. Thank you. 9.3.1, proposed review of council policy 1.1.2. Councillor meeting fees and reimbursement of expenses and recession of council policy 4.1.5, travelling / accommodation allowances. Is there a mover? Thank you, Councillor De Campo. Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Burns, Councillor De Campo. Would you like to, Councillor Burns? Are there any other speakers? Can we put it to the vote, please, councillors? All those in favour? Is carried 7-0. Thank you. 9.5.1, proposed position on the planning framework for plantations, in brackets tree farms.
Thank
Councillor
you,
De
Madam
Campo.
President. I would just like to move as per officer recommendation, but with 5 very important words in my view, added to point 1, and it would be to the satisfaction of council behind the number 5. So I'll read it out. So point 1 would be, it's as per officer's recommendation, but point 1 reading, special control areas for visual landscape protection areas near town sites or along designated regional tourist routes in draft local planning scheme number 5 to the satisfaction of council. And I'll explain why if somebody wants to second that.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Burns, Councillor De Campo.
Thank you. I'm not saying that any of this will happen, but it has happened in the past. So special control areas are very difficult once they're in to remove. And all this does is ensure, and I'm sure it would have anyway, but all it does is give me some comfort that it's going to come back to council for any special control areas that might be applied over the scheme. Is that what we call it nowadays? Yes, it's still the scheme. Because we have had these in the past, and I can remember very, very vividly arguments with Glenn Bevan at Lake Muir, who had a special control area, conservation area put over a part of his property out there, and trying to get that thing lifted was trying to pull teeth from a whale. It was very, very difficult. So I just want some comfort that whatever might be proposed will come back to this chamber, and I'm sure it would have anyway, but it just gives us some comfort that it'll come back, be presented to us. We'll then be able to go out to the public and ensure that those special control areas match community expectations, as I'm sure they would anyway, but again, it just gives me some comfort that it'll come back and we'll have the final say on those special control areas. I commend the motion to you other than that.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Burns. Excellent. Are there any other speakers? Can we put this to the vote, please, councillors? All those in favour? Is carried 7-0. Thank you. 9.12.1, the Manjimup Airfield Terminal Building renaming proposal. Would someone like to move it? I'll move it, thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor De Campo. I would just like to make a special mention of Mr. Max Lefroy, who has spent 41 years of voluntary service ensuring that our planes can land. There's no kangaroos on the airfield. And I think volunteers, as I've said many, many times, volunteers are the lifeblood of our community. And 41 years is definitely not something to be sneezed at. To be able to get up at any time of the night to go and make sure that our planes and emergency services and aircraft can land absolutely needs recognition. And if it means putting a plaque up with Max's name on it on the terminal, then I think this is a fantastic step forward. And with that, I would commend to you that we support this motion. Who seconded it? Councillor De Campo, would you like to speak?
Well, I would actually. It's very odd. I don't speak that often, to be honest, but for this one I'd like to, because you're right. I'd just like to say, Max, you know, when you see things from time to time, and I was just thinking now, I wonder what it will look like in 20 years' time, pictures of, you know, the CEO and others, youthful people around this table, and what they might look in 20 years' time, like me and Greg, Mr. Lockwood. But I'm getting somewhere here, I can tell you. Well, some of us come on to council at an age like you, but we didn't. So the reality is, though, Max is like a giddy child still. He has a passion for flying. And I know somebody who flies regularly at King Air into this town, and every time it lands, he's like a kid looking at an A380, or somebody who got the opportunity to see a Concorde. I don't know if you have seen a Concorde. I have. They're great. That passion hasn't lost Max, and I think this is a fitting. It's not just a plaque on a building. It actually shows people that his dedication and his passion is still there, because he does genuinely have it. It's not just something he does because he has to. He does it because he loves it. He does it because he loves flying, and he absolutely loves what he does. So I think it's a really fitting thing to do, and I commend the motion to you. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. With that, are there any other speakers? With that, can we put the motion to the vote, please, councillors? All those in favour? It's wholeheartedly passed 7-0. Thank you. Okay, item 10, late reports. There are nil. Item 11, questions from members. 11.1, response to questions from members taken on notice. There are nil. 11.2, questions from members. Nil. 12, motions for consideration at the following meeting. 13, new business of an urgent nature introduced by decision of the meeting. Applications for leave of absence. Fabulous. With that, I wish to thank everyone in attendance and close the meeting at 6:13. Thank you all very much.
Rest in peace.